Already. 3, 2, and 1.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Welcome to another week of And We're Live. Unfortunately, we were not there. Are you trying to drive me mad?
No,
And so, are you trying to drive me mad? You shan't.
not today.
Not today. Not on Halloween. You may try on other days, but today you shan't. Welcome to another episode of And We're Live. This is the show where we talk all about using a live stream and video for your business and beyond. Sorry we weren't here last week. I was in the midst of travel, and as such, we are back this week. But by me, it's not just me. It's also Curtis Brooks from Curtis Brooks Media Productions. Show yourself.
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
Wonderful. You look like you're in a little bit of tundra. What's going on there?
Yeah, it's cold.
Because you look like you have a parka on. What's that about?
No, it's like 34 degrees here, or at least that's what it was this morning. I think about around 8 o'clock, 8:30, it warmed up, maybe 36, 37.
Oh, summer.
Yeah, right.
It's so weird that we're in one country and the vast differences in temperature. So
Yes.
where I am now, it's in the high 80s.
Wow.
So I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and it's actually quite balmy. You would have no clue that in some parts of the country it's snowing. So, wow. Anyway, that's not what you all came here for, the weather report. You can tune into the Weather Channel for that. What's up, Gail Taylor? She says, yes, boo y'all on Facebook. And what's up to Sharon? Shared this stream. Thank you, Sharon, for sharing.
Thank you, Sharon.
Absolutely. And guys on Facebook, sometimes you don't know that if you don't actually click on the video, we won't see your comments until after. So if you want to join in, click on the video and then you'll actually be in the room. So just putting that out there in case people don't know. What's up to everybody on LinkedIn? Thank you so much for being here on LinkedIn. Those of you joining us on the YouTube front, thank you for being here. And also we are
on Unmanned Channel.
You did the Unmanned Channel. But, let me give a shout out to LinkedIn. I actually had an issue where, remember, I wasn't able to see you guys unless Curtis shared it to me. I reached out to them. They went in and fixed it, and now I see it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew it wasn't me. So they fixed it. So shout out to LinkedIn. Thank you so much for doing that so much. Fantastical. All right, so what do we have on tap? Well, first of all, let me ask, how are you, Curtis?
I'm doing well. What about yourself?
Oh, good. Even in 34-degree weather, huh? You're doing good. Or maybe it's 40-something now.
I'm trying to stay warm, but yeah, I'm doing well. It's a good day.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, it's a good day here. It's a hot day here. I've gotten a lot done so far, and I'm about to get some more work done with you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. What about your Halloween festivities? You got anything going on?
I am probably going to go to something here called Wicked Manors. And Wilton Manors, which is a neighborhood of, it's a city of itself, actually, but it's like right on the edge of Fort Lauderdale. It's one neighborhood over from me. And so they do something called Wicked Manors. And they have a parade
Something
about
wicked this way comes.
Basically. So Wilton Manors is a really hot happening area, and they have one strip called Wilton Drive, and everybody dresses up. I mean, when I say they put time into the costumes, these people plan from the year before, okay? And there are contests, DJs, because there are a lot of bars and stuff on that, and clubs on that street. So it's just an all-night party, basically. Really physically it goes from 6 to 11, but nobody leaves at 11. Nobody comes back till the next morning, basically.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, it's serious. So I'm probably going to check out what's going on Wicked Manors. Some people from my Zumba class said, hey, let's go. So I said, okay.
Right, so, cool. Speaking of Halloween, we had a little broomstick 5432 joined us over on on Periscope.
Hey, broomstick 5422, is that it? Thank you for being here. Thanks so much. Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. So I hope that you all have some festivities. Go ahead and put what your festivities are going to be in the chat, because we're interested to know. Look at me speaking for Curtis, but I'm interested anyway. I care, even if he doesn't. So what we're
Yes.
going to talk about today, actually, well, you tell them what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, we're going to continue a conversation we had not last week because we weren't here, but the week before.
Yes.
We were talking about controlling your sound environment. And so we're going to further that conversation and finish up the topic we were talking about, and that was microphones. We started talking about microphones, but we didn't quite finish. So we're going to finish up this show.
Yes.
So there we go.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just getting.
And
go ahead.
I was just going to add I guess our topic is understanding microphones, or at least kind of slash controlling your sound environment, understanding mic patterns and best uses.
Best uses. Yeah, that's good. Best practices, best uses. I like that. That's good. Okay, cool beans. So that's what we're going to do. As you saw and this was 2 weeks ago now, when I was still in the ATL, now back in the FTL, we were talking about that. So we're going to continue our journey about microphones, as a one MC Curtis has said. And if you guys have any questions about microphones, want to put something in the chat, we would love to hear all about it.
Absolutely.
Please make sure that you participate, because this is a participatory forum. It is not a lecture, ladies and gentlemen. This is a conversation. So we want you to think about that when it comes to this. All right. So shall we get started?
Let's do it.
All right. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about is to kind of recap the things that we talked about last week, or 2 weeks ago. So we were talking about sound in general and how important sound is to your whole production, whether it's a live stream or a video you're recording to post later. Sound is critically important. I think I said this. Sound is one of the things that will get you not accepted to a film festival. Right?
Right. Absolutely.
Sound is one of the things that is unforgivable. Maybe I'm able to forgive that you don't have enough light. Okay, I'm a stickler in terms of production. I need you to have a good image. I need you to have a crisp image. Maybe I can forgive if your focus is a little soft, if you've got bomb, stellar sound. And think about this. When you've got bomb, stellar sound, you could repurpose that as a podcast, right?
Absolutely.
If you don't have good sound, forget it. Forget about it. Okay?
Absolutely.
So we talked about controlling the sound in your environment. We talked about being as quiet as possible, being in as quiet a place as possible, but the fact that you don't want, quote, dead sound. It is not, you're not recording for video. You're not generally recording in a sterile environment. So you want your recording of your sound to reflect that you are outside, where you may hear some cars, where you may hear a few birds chirping, that type of thing, right? So you don't want no sound. You want a little bit of sound, but you want to be able to control the amount of sound. So if you're doing an interview and you're someplace outside or where you can't really control the sound as much, you can control it by taking people away. So for example, tonight, I'm going to be at Wicked Manners probably. I might want to do a live stream. So what I'm not going to do is be right in the midst of all the music and everything, and, you know, where they can't hear me. Also, what we're going to talk about today more, mics, make sure I have a good mic that's going to pick up my sound. And I do have one that will kind of block outside a little bit and focus more on my sound. So, but outside of the mics, be in as quiet a place as possible. But depending on what you're streaming about, make sure that you have some kind of ambient sound. You said something, MC?
No, I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not MC. Curtis today. You're Curtis today.
I guess I've gotten to I answer either.
Okay, because it's not going to work. I am not going to be able to keep up the non-MC Curtis thing. It just doesn't work because I've known you as MC for too long. And guess who's here? Troublemaker number one. Natalie Cruz says, I'm about to be. Natalie? She said, I'm about to be out here eating all the kids' candy. Don't I know you because you're a troublemaker? I know you.
Yes, she is. Midnight Scopes with Natalie.
And tonight is going to be a Halloween edition one, and we're just going to hear crunching.
Right.
Natalie, you can't take candy from kids. You can't. And she says, Happy Halloween.
Yeah,
yay. Boo to you too. Boo. Fantastic. Okay. So also, we talked about the last time to make sure you are streaming at a time that's appropriate so that you can avoid extraneous noise. And Bobby Shadow, as we like to call him, from Meerkat class of 2015, he said 2 weeks ago that he actually will stream when everybody's asleep, like early in the morning or late at night. And that may be what you have to do to avoid noise, especially if you have children, for example. You can bribe them only for so long to keep quiet.
Exactly.
So your choices are send them away
to a camp or something.
To a camp permanently. No, I'm just kidding. Send them permanently away, or send them away for a while and have them come back. So that may be something that you need to do to work that out. Remember, we're talking about doing this for your business and beyond. If this is just beyond a fun thing for you, then you need to say, hey, I really need to find a time where I can do this without distractions. Kids don't know how to not be the center of attention sometimes.
Right.
So they're going to compete with all of us, your viewers, for your attention. And then you're just going to be annoyed and upset. So better to do it before they get up. And kids, if it's a school day especially, they don't want to get up.
Yeah, I remember those days.
I bet you do. I bet you tried to hide under the bed so that you couldn't be woken up.
Oh, I wanted to. I tell you.
Wow. Oh, Natalie, you're doing an ASMR Halloween edition, Lord. And you know how I detest ASMR. I can't stand it. Popular as it is, it works my nerves. I feel like back here, I'm like, ooh, I hate it. Anyway. So those are some of the things that we talked about. Also, interesting enough, Curtis brought up the 7 habits of highly effective people, and we related it to the experience of good sound and video, which was actually quite dope. So if you want to see it again, go ahead and watch the replay from 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Go
close. Ahead.
No, that was close. I thought you were going to ask me to repeat it, but yeah. Watching the video is probably better.
Because he doesn't remember a damn thing he said. So that's basically what he's telling you.
Sorry, folks.
That's okay. We'll forgive you this time. Fantastic. All right. So, and then we also asked the question, how do you deal with noise while creating content? Right. Oh, and I forgot, and in terms of dealing with noise while creating content, we talked about soundproofing as well. Ghost of Natalie, what's up on the Periscope side? We talked about soundproofing as well, and the fact that you could do all sorts of things. I actually looked this up the other day. At one point, I was thinking about trying to build a sound booth, and then I discovered I really don't have any place to do that per se. Usually a closet is a great place to do that. I have 2 closets in the entire place, and one is taken up by HVAC stuff. So I have one basically. So that was a no-go. But I was thinking about doing that, and you can actually buy, it's like, what is it? How much is that? I think it's 48 pieces of soundproof foam, which are, I would say, about 12 by 12 pieces of soundproof foam. You could get them larger. For about, I think it was very inexpensive. I want to say it was about $60 or $70.
A lot of people actually have been taking that soundproofing foam and cutting, different cut circles out of it, and just do different things with it, actually making it look quite creative, where they might have it in different colors.
So like making art?
Yeah, making art with it.
And then putting it on the wall? Mm-hmm. If you have time to do that, good for you. However.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm just saying it's a creative way of putting the foam if you don't want that studio looking feel, that kind of thing.
Right. And that's what we talked about 2 weeks ago as well. The fact that it may not go, it's fine to have it visible if you are doing, for example, a video podcast.
Right.
Or if that's the type of look that you want people to feel like they're inside the sound booth or a radio studio with you. That's fine. But if you don't want that, like I'm not one that necessarily likes that. So I don't want, you could see the differences between MC's setup and then my setup. You could kind of see the difference. Right. He's got his headphones on. He's in producer mode too. You see all this stuff, which is fine for for me as a host, like for Mediascope, I don't necessarily want all of that visible. I just want me, you know. Of course, you see my mic sticking in, and that I don't mind as much. If I wanted not to have that, I would have a lavalier mic, and because I want the equipment to be as silent or as invisible as possible. So it just depends on the look you're going for and the type of broadcast you're going as to whether or not you want soundproofing and sound equipment visible. So you have to think about that. So those are the things we talked about. But one thing we also said is that you could build a wall of soundproofing, right? Take some cardboard or something, and you can stick this soundproofing on and put it in front of you, like where I'm pointing. And that way it absorbs the sound. And you don't have it bouncing off so much. You could even literally, like where I am, if I wanted to build it on kind of 3 sides, that would do even more to dampen the sound. And then you would still see the background behind. So it's up to you what you want it to look like. But if you want it to sound good, you need to make sure, you know, take all of these things that we talked about. And again, feel free to go back and listen to the replay of what we did 2 weeks ago, because there was a lot of gems.
I think a lot of the information that we've shared throughout the different shows that we've done have been completely comprehensive, because there's a lot of information there that really, if you kind of just create a plan and just say, you know what, I want to learn how to do live streaming, or I want to learn more about video microphones. You go to either our Facebook page or Twitter page or Periscope. There's so much content there. You can sit there and really get all the information you need in between one or two different shows that we've done already. There's really a lot of information there. It
is chock full of content. There's no excuse. There's like no excuse. Just in I think this is show number 7 now, if I'm not mistaken. We would have to go back and count. And we probably should anyway. Go back and count.
Yeah, we should maybe title the next one 008 or something like that.
Well, yeah, or just to know for ourselves, or, you know, after the fact, because that's how it gets away from you. And that's actually a tip, guys, to really keep. You can, the convention now, you can number, but it's really good to name your episodes, the nomenclature. We talked a little bit about that before, but make sure you keep count of the number of episodes that you have as well. It's very helpful archival wise, because now this is what we're faced with our podcast. Oops, sorry. This is what we're faced with on our podcast. I was trying to get water slickly, and you saw what happened. So Kevin and I, from my podcast TV channeling, we, for some stupid reason, decided that we were going to do the podcast episodes that were actually episodes. We were going to number those, and the specials were just going to be specials. Stupidly, we should have numbered all of them. And we were like, why did we come up with it? Were we high when we came up with this?
Right.
So now it's like, really, the number of episodes that we have physical numbers for is less than the actual episodes we have. So we were like, okay, our 100th is coming up soon. Are we going to celebrate the actual number 100th or the number of episodes when we get there? So we decided the number of 100th, but that's a lesson to go ahead and just number from the beginning. Right. So you know when the milestones are. This is our 25th episode, our 50th.
Absolutely.
This is our 2-year or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So enough of that. I just wanted to give that. And guess who's here? Sarita Wills. Welcome, Sarita. And happy Halloween to you as well. I think I saw a picture of your son, or maybe not. But he went to something, right? I saw a lot of really cool pictures on social media as what kids went to school as. This is probably the only day they're clamoring to get to school. That that and the last day of school. So, all right. So now what we're going to do, and 2 weeks ago, we also did start to discuss microphones. So what we're going to do now is talk more in depth about microphones. And I know, Serena, you were there at that show and you were asking a lot of really good questions. So one thing that we want to do is talk about pickup patterns. Pickup patterns. No, not like picking somebody up in a bar. A little bit different.
Well,
wow. Wow, MC. Not for me anyway, maybe
But
for
we're
him.
talking about microphone pickup patterns.
Correct, microphone pickup pattern. So we maybe touched a little bit on this the last time, but we're going to get more into it now. And I think it's really important to know the way the microphone you have picks up sound, because that determines what environments you can use these things in, what types of projects they are best for. So, when you start, we're talking about starting where you are, starting initially, but eventually what you're going to want to do is to start to get a number of different microphones, because you may be in a number of different places. And I found this, as I started. Now, I had always understood video and that type of thing, because this is what I've been doing. But, when it came to live streaming is a little bit, it's video, but it's different, right? Because it's live. You can't go back and fix things. You can fix things in post, but once it's live, it's very difficult to adjust things unless you're using a mixer. So if you're just going live from your phone, you're like, how do I know this sounds good? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about now. So, shall we start?
Let's do it.
Woohoo! I don't know why I did that, but All right.
Makes for good ratings, though.
It does make for good ratings. It makes for awesome ratings. Don't be surprised when we win our Emmy, folks. Mr. Card Logic is here. Hey, what's up? And Mr. Card Logic, I saw you on Mediascope last night, like after the fact. So thank you for being there last night as well. I just wanted to acknowledge you. Let me take a break really quickly and say, what's up, everyone? Welcome to And We're Live with Bob Fosse, Hollywood Hands, Broadway Hands, because I'm really excited about this topic, and so is MC Curtis. We're excited about the show. This is where we talk all about, I was about to say media, tech, and pop culture. Not quite. That's yesterday. This is where we talk about video and live streaming for your business and beyond, and give you all sorts of really cool tips that you may not hear anywhere else. And you're always welcome to go back and watch replay. So what's up to the people on YouTube, on Periscope/Twitter, on Facebook Live, and on Instagram?
I got a question for you, though.
I'm sorry. LinkedIn. Go ahead.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is video something that people should ignore? Because, obviously people have access to these videos that we've been doing, or live streams that we've been doing, but is it something that people or businesses personally and professionally should ignore if they're trying to build their business? Or, should they look at this as a fad that it's going to be, it's going to be done and over with in the next few months, or should they take it serious?
So let me give the answer that my mother usually gives. My dear, that's the way when you ask her something and it's like, she's like, my dear. So ignore at your own peril. What you have to understand is this use of, quote, new media, the social media, the video, in terms of your strategy of getting people to partake in your products or services, is not just for your customers today. It's for tomorrow's customer as well. So if you are intent on closing and shutting down your business tomorrow, well, then maybe you don't have to think about it.
Absolutely.
But if you're thinking about engaging for years to come and pulling in these next generations, millennial, people are already over the millennials. We're talking now about Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Okay. So if you're trying to pull in those next generations, never mind that it doesn't appeal to them now, later it may, and they probably will remember, hey, I remember them from when I was younger. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do, because we all remember brands and things from when we were younger, right? Sure. Why? Because of the commercials. So, of course, there wasn't social media when a lot of us were little, right? So there were computers, but we didn't really have a big, well-known World Wide Web yet.
Sure.
So businesses were not on there.
Yeah, I just thought that was a good question, because I don't think a lot of people, personally and professionally, there are the business owners who maybe be small and not so big, but I don't think people are taking it serious.
No, I don't think so. And I think this is the thing. First of all,
Mhm.
let me say, hey, Brad Llewellyn is here. Welcome on
Hey,
the
Brad, what's
Facebook
up?
Live side. I think that people, especially think about people who have done well relatively up
Mhm.
to this point without engaging social media or having a
Right.
video strategy. So
Mhm.
they think they can continue to do what they do without changing and they'll be okay. The
Right.
thing is also that some people are fearful of learning
Mm.
this, and some people just don't want to learn because they're like, well, I'm already doing okay, I don't need to do this. But then what happens? Netflix comes along
Sure, absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
shows you what they could do with new media, and you just sit there like Blockbuster with one store left in Anchorage, Alaska.
Right, right. Right.
I'm really, I'm playing around, but I'm serious when I
Yeah,
say ignore video to your own peril in business and in branding. No matter what you look, we are a visual society now.
absolutely.
And again, this is just a general blanket thing because I know that we have some people that are visually impaired. But then we talk about audio, which is part of what we're talking about today. We are a mediated society, and I think in
Absolutely.
order to engage people, you need to take stock in media and
Right,
take
right.
stock in video. So that was an excellent question.
And just real quick, I know we got to get started here, but real
That's all
quick,
right.
uh, it's also to understand that your words are visual too. Sometimes we just look at video or just look at or listen to the audio, and we obviously get an idea of what the person is talking about. But when you're writing copy as well, so all of these things are visual. You're painting a picture even with your writing.
Mm,
So it's just
mm.
as visual as someone watching a video, and obviously not so much visual, but you're still painting a picture with your writing, and so you want to be able to write a compelling story or at least compelling copy for your website, or a nice description for your video or your content, your live stream that you're creating.
You are so right.
Yeah.
You are absolutely right. Excellent points. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to do this. I know we go off on tangents, but I think they're important
Right,
tangents.
right. I
I
think so
think
too.
they're related. Other people may not care, think about that, but I don't
Right.
think we care. So we're just going to keep going off on our tangents. But now we're going to bring it back to center. And Dryer Buzz joined us on the Periscope side. It should be called Periscope Live. So Periscope Live, welcome. Dryer Buzz, good to see you. All right, so let's do this. Let's talk a little bit about pickup patterns. Again, microphone pickup patterns. Okay. I hear you in the background, MC.
I said anything.
Yeah, you didn't have to. I'm picking up your vibes. I know
You're
you.
picking up the pattern.
I'm picking up the pattern, sir. I know you. Don't I know you? My father used to say this all the time.
Yeah, you
Don't
do.
I know you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, just a bit. And so the first, Drybuzz says, I listen more than I watch. And I can imagine because you're always busy and you're always on the go. So what Curtis said about making your words very visual and painting a
Mhm.
picture is doubly important, in that
And
case.
and Dr. Tachi, you were in radio, so it was also important to make your words, just as visual as well,
Yeah.
or impactful when you're speaking.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is now, with Mediascope is also on WJMSradio.com. So I
Mm.
had been so used to engaging visual followers on the live stream platforms that I then had to remember whatever I do needs to also be palatable to people who are just listening. And I
Absolutely.
became even more aware of that once we got on WJMS radio. So enough of that. And William Slays, hey, what's up on the Facebook Live side? First pickup pattern, ladies and gentlemen, omnidirectional, and we apologize for not having the images for you. By the time I got home to do this, I completely forgot that I had not sent them. So what we will do, as usual, is next week we'll do a recap, and I will have the pictures for you, the images. So, are you laughing, sir?
No, I was reading what Bill had said.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, okay.
In regards to, he says, okay, this is making me very, very self-conscious about every word I will say.
Don't be. You say things with such panache, sir. You are fine. And so we say this not to make you self-conscious, but to make you conscientious.
Right, right.
All right. So the first pickup pattern, which we've been trying to get to for donkey's years, is the omnidirectional pattern. And if you can picture it, it looks like a circle, right? That means it picks up sound from anywhere.
Right.
Omni is, several, many.
Right.
It
Yeah.
picks up sound from everywhere, basically. So these are really the easiest types of microphones to understand. They record from every single direction. Okay, which could be good depending on what type of event that you're doing or what you're streaming or what you're recording, right? It's good when you can't really control things very well. You don't have a controlled environment.
Right.
So for example, a press conference is a great place to have omnidirectional because you may want to pick up some questions from other reporters, from other people there, right? You have an entire panel. That's a good place to do it as well. Now, granted, you may not get the 100% clear, sharpest sound, but you will get sound from that, okay? They're the most flexible mics, but they're also very noisy because they pick up noise from everywhere. So you really have to balance. So it's great for interviews and great for subjects that are constantly on the move. Anything to add?
No, you're doing
Oh, okay, because I know, I like to take a break in case there's something to add. All right, and so let's see, the God mic. Yes, William said exactly. The God mic, omnipotent. Exactly, William Slace.
Right.
Very good, very good. Exactly. So please, as we said, please join in if you have any questions or you have something to add, particularly those of you who already are pretty proficient in terms of mics. Please add your 2 cents or 5 cents, right? 6 pence, whatever it is.
A nickel's worth, a dime's worth.
Why does it sound like we're talking about illicit substances when you say nickel's worth?
No. No.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, it does when you say it. When you say it, repeat it again. Yeah, it
yes,
does.
I'm like, okay. Well,
well, don't do that.
don't. Just say no. Our next pickup pattern, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, sorry. Before I get there, let's give some examples of mics. Do you want to do that, MC, or do you want me to?
Examples of the omnidirectional?
Of mics. If not, I could give them. That's not a problem.
Okay, let me see here. I got the.
That would be a strong no. Okay, so.
Well, no, I have it on my screen here.
Okay.
Okay. So as Dr. Tachi mentioned, omnidirectional is going to be more like a circle. And so for that entire circle, or that entire sphere, you're going to have sound coming in all directions. And the microphones that that I have here as an example is the Polsen, Polsen OLM-10. The Rode Smart Lav. We talked about lavs last week. Dr. Tachi spoke about that pretty extensively. So a lot of times lavs are going to be omnidirectional. And so even if you are interviewing someone and perhaps you don't have an additional microphone, if you stand close enough to the subject, you should be able to pick up their voice, but not necessarily as clear as you would be pick up your own voice if you're talking into it. And then we have the Sennheiser. Sennheiser is pretty well known here, kind of much the top of the line, and that's the Sennheiser MKE-2-PC. And then there's another Sennheiser as well, that's EW112-P. Again, Sennheiser is pretty pricey, but nevertheless, they're known for their great sound. And then we have the, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of it. The Yeti.
Oh, that too is a omnidirectional, but that only works for studio, for sitting still.
Okay.
So these other mics are like lav mics. Remember the lavaliers clip to your lapel or wherever you want to clip them on your subject, and those are for moving around. So the Sennheiser, the MKE 2PC, that's $399. So, and then the other Sennheiser wireless system. Okay, so you've got wired and wireless. Your best case scenario is wireless if you can. That's $629. So once you get into wireless systems, you're going to start to get pricier, but please don't skimp when it comes to wireless systems.
Right.
You get what you pay for. If you start picking up police radios, you'll know why.
right.
Okay. So don't skimp on those. The Rode Smart Lav is actually a wired lav.
Okay.
So it's wired. The Rode, and I have a Rode that's wireless, and I can't remember the exact model number, but it's a wireless Rode, and that is like $399. So that lets you know the difference between the Rode Smart Lav, which is $79, because there's a wire. Once you remove that wire, and it's a wireless system, that ups the price. But anything that's a lav, it's cool. Like, I mean, that was a great example, Curtis. The fact that when you are in an interview, you only have one. And here's the thing. When I was shooting in Atlanta, for some reason, something was off with one. I have a system that has 2 wireless lav mics, and I could tell that my subject wasn't talking into, or hers was off, because I heard her, but through the other person's lav.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, tap, yours is off. So I could tell that it's not, you will still hear them, but it's not as sharp.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was a great example. Great. All right. So let me go to the room and see if anybody has any questions. Anna is here. Anna Donofrio Runesville says, hey, William, Curtis, and Tachi, what's up? And happy belated birthday to you, Anna. Happy belated birthday. Hope you had a great one. Fantastic. Let's see. I'm just going through to see if anybody else has any other questions. Dryer says, I listen more than watch as I'm always in the car. Okay, makes sense.
I can't tell, Dryer Buzz. Every time I see you doing like a live stream.
Dryer Buzz is awesome. I just have to say that. She's amazing. She's on all the time. Okay, so let's go to the next pickup pattern, shall we?
Let's do it.
Cardioid. Cardioid is the next pickup pattern, and if this makes any sense, you know what cardioid is, right? It has to do with the heart. So cardioid mics pick up in a heart-shaped pattern. Think of an upside down, like heart shape. So an upside down heart, that would be a cardioid pattern. So it's really flexible. It's a really flexible pickup pattern. It's great for things like documentaries, weddings, events. And the way this works, it is slightly directional, meaning it does need to be pointed towards your subject in order to really pick up the best sound, okay? But it's not like what we're going to talk about next in terms of supercardioid or hypercardioid. We'll talk about those in a minute. But the thing about cardioid is they will pick up background noise if they're not in a controlled environment. So the pickup pattern is strongest at the tip, okay, of the mic. So, for example, right here, it would be strongest there, but you can still get noise from the back of the microphone, the sides of the microphone, okay? So that is cardioid in a heart-shaped pickup pattern. So some examples of cardioids, now they're all sorts, and these are not the only ones the ones we're mentioning are not the only ones that exist. We just want to give you some things to play with. So do you want to do that?
Sure. Okay. For the cardioid microphones, we have the Polson SCL-1075 shotgun mic. It can be a microphone that you can mount onto your camera or to your mobile device, your DSLR or mobile device, as long as you have some kind of like
mount,
a mount or shell or something like what is it called,
a cage.
Yes, some kind of cage or something like that, where you can mount the this Polson mic here that I just mentioned, and then they have the Rode Videomicro that's for $59. Again, I'm reading the prices here because the prices may change. You might even find them cheaper, but nevertheless, this is what we have as far as an example of the cardioid microphones. We also have the Audio Technica Pro 70 lavalier microphone. Again, check out these microphones, and there's a ton more microphones because the space here, as far as audio microphones, is very, very competitive, guys. Very competitive. So you'll find different prices, and you might even be able to find some used merchandise as well. But,
yeah, absolutely. But make sure that you get certified, your verified used stuff.
And maybe because I know Dr. Tachi, she buys a lot of audio as well, and so she's been in the game a lot longer than I have. So Dr. Tachi, maybe at some point we can, divulge the sites that you might go to purchase.
Oh, sure.
Sites.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm an Amazonian, but there are other places. Just because of free shipping. I mean, if nothing, because the thing is, the shipping will kill you on some of the stuff if you order a lot of it. But, there are other places. So, yeah, well, we can definitely do a stream on those. Absolutely. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so there you have it for the cardioid microphones. But again, just take a look around Amazon, just even eBay. You can maybe be able to find something brand new someone wants to just kind of offload and for lesser price.
Yeah. I think the thing with all of these is to do your research first, which is why we're giving you some examples. And then once you do your research, you can then research where you can find it for cheaper.
Absolutely.
Because this is one thing I do. I go on one particular site that I absolutely love, or two particular sites, but I end up probably not buying it from there and going someplace else.
Right. Yeah, and make sure you ask, hey, do you guys price match?
Yes.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is a big thing because everybody's trying to compete. Let's be real. Everybody's trying to compete with Amazon.
Absolutely. Best Buy is a good one too.
Best Buy, and here's the thing. So if you can find it on their shelves, like for example, even if you order it, right, you'll be able, if you go to the store, say you want it that day, there's something that you want. Amazon has it for this much. If you find the same, it has to be the same SKU, it has to be the same model, all of that. If you find it at Best Buy, they will price match for you. So something to think about, especially if you wanted to go in and get something that day. Now, granted, Best Buy doesn't have the space to have all of the inventory out there, and they don't always carry everything there, but online they may.
Right.
So something to check out. Anna says, love me some free shipping. I get it. And also it says, so it sounds like you might have a gear list people can ask for. That we do. That we definitely do. Both a live stream and a video production one, and one that actually we can merge so that you have. So yeah, absolutely, because this is not the first time we've ever been asked these questions.
Right.
So absolutely, yes. And then let's see. William says, I have a hell PR.
Heil.
Oh, okay. I was like, hell? That's a new one. But I was figuring he may have meant Heil, but I'm like, okay, maybe it's called hell. A Heil PR40, but love my Shure SM58. And you could get a good Shure used. The SM58 is made to last, originally for the military. Now that I did not know.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that either. Wow, very interesting.
That is some good stuff. You see what happens when you, wow, that's awesome. Ooh, now I could add that to my repertoire of knowledge. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm a Shure fan as well. I have a condenser mic that is a Shure that I use for, well, I don't use it for podcasting, but I used it for voiceover initially. So thank you very much. That is awesome. And yes, William says shock mount. Yes, either a shock mount or some kind of mount.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Heart-shaped upside down pattern. And she's thanking us for the birthday wishes, Anna is.
Absolutely.
Okay, just going through the rooms to make sure there are no questions. Gazelle 50, thank you so much for being here on the Periscope side. Good to see you. Is it Giselle?
Giselle.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's the way it was spelled that I thought it was G, but it's Giselle. Okay, thank you. Thank you for being here. I apologize for pronouncing your name. Okay, so those are examples of the cardioid. There's so many others, but these are some examples. And you got a a fairly inexpensive, like the Polson and the Rode Video Micro, the Micro, and then all the way up to the Audio Technica, which is $129, which is still not that expensive. All right, so now we're talking about cardioid. Let's talk about hyper-cardioid, okay? These are mics like mini shotguns, the small shotgun microphones that would sit on top of your camera or that you can attach to a mobile device. And these are great on-camera mics, right? Great for documentary recording. And also, if you play an instrument, for studio sessions, these are good for recording studio sessions on camera as well. So the hyper-cardioid pickup pattern is a directional pickup pattern. And this is great for isolating sound. So your sounds are more isolated. So generally, you find this pickup pattern in shotgun mics. And what happens with this is that your shotgun mic needs to be pointed at the source to get the best sound. So it will still pick up. So say this is your subject, right? So if you have the microphone pointed this way, it will still pick up, but you'll really hear the sound if it's pointed directly at your subject. Okay? So every brand is different. We know this, in terms of the way they do things. But the difference, when we're about to talk about this, so this is a hypercardioid, but the difference between this and the supercardioid, which we're about to talk about this, is how much of the rear and back sound is picked up. So again, hypercardioid are great for recording instruments. And examples, MC?
Absolutely. We have, for examples here, we have two, and the first one is going to be the Audix AUDIX SCX1-HC. Yeah, it's kind of pricey here. And then we have a Sennheiser MKH416, and yet kind of pricey. Yeah, what's the take on audio? Audio can be pricey, especially if you're trying to isolate your subject. They have different preamps that you're using, so that's going to be another part of the different microphones that when you select one and you're looking at one is maybe $40, $50. You're looking at the preamps that they're using, and as far as how the microphone processes the sound.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason that, theoretically, you should get better sound. The more you pay for something, the better the sound is, just because the inner workings are more intricate. And generally, this does end up being the case. Sometimes you pay money for things and you're like, well, that was a waste. But generally with microphones,
right.
with microphones, I found that to be the case. And guess who else is here? Alfredo is here. Alfredo, welcome. Hey, Alfredo. And Alfredo on Facebook Live says audio is pricing when you pricey when you have more audio. The more audio you have to capture. Yeah, absolutely. And Anna says audio is king, worth having good equipment. If the audio is crunchy, the audience is gone. Oh, yes. Which is why it kills me when something goes wrong audio-wise.
Yeah,
right?
It's painful for me too. I hate it.
Absolutely. We can forgive a crunchy image, but crunchy audio, as Anna says, no go. Yeah, William, I figured you meant sure. After the hell debacle, and I figured you meant sure. Don't worry. And Anna says, merge it into one and have people sign up for it. I'm sure Curtis Brooks and company might have a website landing page to seek out. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Anna, for that. We absolutely do. Years and years of repository of equipment, indeed.
Right, repository is correct. I got in my containers back here, equipment that I don't even use anymore. Nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just Yeah.
You don't even use. So when it comes, okay, another tangent tip. When it comes to this point, my suggestion is if you have, for example, I had 2 cameras at one point. The camera I use now, and then I had a Canon 7D, okay, which is a DSLR. I bought that in 2010. Still worked well, but once I got my Panasonic, I just really stopped using the 7D. But there was nothing wrong with it.
Right.
So I actually just this year sold it because I wasn't using it anymore. If you wait too long, sometimes with some equipment, the value is going to go down because they keep coming out with newer and newer things. So I said, I'm not using it. Let me sell it. So a word of advice, if you're not using a piece of equipment, I would go ahead and sell it and invest that money into some newer equipment.
Right. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to let it go because I have an Apogee audio receiver here, and really nice. It's paid like $650 for it, and I've got 2 of them. One that I'm using and one that's sitting in the drawer.
So the one that's sitting in the drawer, is it doing anything for you, like cooking you breakfast? Does it clean when you're gone? Does it return the calls? Does it act like a personal assistant?
No to all of that.
Okay, great. I'm glad you know that answer. So what is the answer then?
Yeah, I probably need to sell it.
Sell it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Even if, okay, so same thing. I had a mixer, an audio mixer that was new. One of the Behringer makes a lot of different mixers. So it was a Behringer mixer. It was just 2 channels. It was a small one, but I figured, okay, I was going to use it for, did not. So I said, you know what? This is the year that it goes. And I actually ended up selling it on Let Go. So if you have equipment, that it could be extra cash, for things that you want, for anything. But I love equipment. I'm a techie, so I want. There's a couple of things that I'm eyeing. So why would I hold on to old stuff when there's some new things that I'm eyeing that could make my production business that much better? So think about it in those terms. I know you love your Apogee, but it's time to let it go.
My fear or challenge is, okay, what happens if there's something that happens with this one here? Which this has actually been flawless. Never had a single issue with it. And then just kind of having a backup to the backup to the backup.
I do understand, and I do agree with having a backup. So I totally get why you're trying to hang on to it. But then it's the question of, which one did you buy first? The one you're using now or the other one?
The one I'm using now. You
bought that first.
Yeah.
So why don't you sell this one and use the one that's newer?
Well, yeah, I'll come to that at some point. Yeah.
I can't help people who don't want to be helped. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Going to the.
I don't have a problem.
Some folks just can't be helped.
I don't have a problem.
He has a huge problem. Some folks just can't be helped. That's what you see. You can't take everybody to the mountaintop with you.
Right.
You're gonna have people like Curtis that are questioning that. So you just take your mountain climbing shoes and go out to the mountaintop. Leave him at the base of the mountain.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So there are a couple of comments on Facebook, and Alfredo says, time to sell that 24 channel analog mic. Yeah, basically. And Anna's laughing, and she says, the mic is a genie. It really, really is. William says, yep, I've sold a mixer and my Zoom H6 because I quit using them. Plus, I picked up the Rodecaster Pro that helped replace both. Okay.
Yeah, he's got that Rodecaster Pro. That thing is nice, man. Yeah. You'd have to sell a couple of nice items for that bad boy. That's nice though. Very nice.
And your house, but
yeah, that's a very nice piece of equipment, Will.
It's a great piece of equipment. And so that's a smart move. Looking at something that can either replace the functions of older equipment, then go ahead and sell that. I mean, that is great. I think, you know what? A lot of us come from the stuff generation. Think about it. If you are like I'm Gen X, if you are Gen X and back, we come from the generation of stuff, and we're stuff generation because our parents like stuff.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
our parents always hoarded and held on to stuff, and so they made stuff important to us, and therefore stuff. Although I'm one that doesn't like too much stuff around, especially papers, but we hold on to stuff just in case of XYZ, because that was what our parents did, just in case. And I do believe in just in case. But this new generation, first of all, they don't have the room to be having so much stuff. But because we come from the stuff generation, we are the stuff generation. We tend to hold on to our stuff because we think we're going to need it. And in some cases, it's like a safety blanket. Yeah. Just like I had that second, my whole thing with the Canon was like, oh, well, if I need to do a 2-camera shoot. And then I started thinking about the specs of the Canon and how with DSLRs, you get 25 minutes of shooting time before it shuts down. And so I would have to do so much more to man. I couldn't just let it run. I would have to person it, not man, but person it. And yeah, so I said, you know what? Better I take this and invest in the other camera that I want.
Right.
So I sold it. So it really is up to you. We are not anti-stuff, ladies and gentlemen. This is just an observation in terms of you have something, and a tangent, as we love, to do that. And Anna is saying to William, audio envy, the struggle is real. Huh? You're not the only one. And Alfredo says, I got stuff and I need to get rid of it. Spouse wants me to get rid of my stuff, including my 40-inch LCD computer screen. See?
40 inches.
40 inches. Wow. That's bigger than my TV.
Wow.
We're the stuff generation, I'm telling you. We like stuff. And Anna also says, both sets of my grandparents lived through the Great Depression. Their motto was make it do or do without, or make it do or do without. Yeah, stuff was totally a thing. Oh my God. I mean, why do you think that Hoarders is a show?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's real. It's real. And I'm quite sure we all have parents or grandparents have stuff that you're like, now what the hell is this?
Yeah, hoarder tendencies.
Exactly. But I'm the opposite. I don't like too much stuff because I don't like clutter. So, any case. But that's the thing with that. So we're going to go on a campaign to get MC Curtis to sell his excess stuff. If you haven't, okay, so the rule is like in terms of clothes, if you haven't worn it in like a year, get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad in that department too.
Well, which is why you still have low-rise, high-water jeans. I'm sorry, I had to bring that up.
You know what? We've got guests, and they're called LinkedIn.
We said it yesterday on LinkedIn, so
I don't remember that, but
anyway, whatever. So all right, let's go back now to the whole thing. So now we're still in cardioid. We're talking next one is supercardioid. That is the next pickup pattern. So cardioid is a pickup pattern. Within cardioid, you have two types of pickup patterns. We talked about hypercardioid, right? And now the next one is supercardioid, and that is shotgun also. Great for reality television and scripted content, okay? It is the most popular of microphones for indie filmmakers, right? So I have one. Because they give you the ability to isolate sound, but still allows for a really slight margin of error. They are typically found in shotgun mics, okay, which are used in boom poles, and they're mounted on top of a camera basically. It doesn't mean that it doesn't pick up noise from behind the microphone. It does, but not as much as, a typical cardioid pattern would. If that makes sense. So how about some examples?
Okay. Just real quick, if you guys have been listening for any kind of, or at least extended period of time, you'll notice that when we started off, or Dr. Tachi started off, she started off with omnidirectional. Omnidirectional meaning that it picks up audio from all different directions. And then we went from the omnidirectional to the cardioid. And so from a pattern that picks up audio in all directions, where you'll notice that we're getting more tighter, if you will, more purposeful, if you will. So It goes from the omnidirectional, being the pattern, audio pattern from all directions. Now we're going to the heart-shaped pattern, which is the cardioid. And yet then we're going to the hypercardioid. And now we're talking about the supercardioid. So we're going to a more tighter pattern, more focused or purposed audio that you're trying to pick up. Okay, so that being said, our examples are the Rode Video Mic Pro, which I hear is a very popular one. I don't have that one. Dr. Todd, do you have that one? Is that the one you have?
I do. I have
Okay.
that.
Okay.
That's the one that I use.
Okay. And then there's the Rode NTG2, and then there's the Sheps Colette. And actually, I've never heard of that one, but it's got a pretty healthy price tag on it. So it must be something because
it's over $1,500, and that's why we've never heard of it. So
right.
I close my ears to anything.
What's that?
Sheps Colette. Who? See, those are the things that that you get when you sit in the in first class, or you
right.
Okay, that type of thing. So yeah, no, but it must be some amazing sound. But here's the thing: you don't always have to go with the high end top of the. Of course, it's going to be amazing in terms of sound, but you may not need to do that. So think long and hard before you invest in these types of things.
Right. Absolutely.
And go ahead.
Just real quick. Now, if there's a maybe perhaps a Guitar Center or music audio store that you can actually go and test these microphones out, that would be a good idea before you make the investment, because you might, as Dr. Tachi mentioned, you may not have to expend this much money and still get a sound that works for you.
Exactly. I want to say something about Guitar Center after. It's one of my favorite places. But let me say hello to Can. Hey, how are you, Can? She says, hello, Dr. Tachiata. Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here on Periscope. So I really do like Guitar Center. They have great stuff for sound, but what you have to think about is that Guitar Center is very heavily focused on music. It's sound, but it's very heavily focused on music. So you're not going to get a lot of the mics that you would need for video from a Guitar Center. So just keep that in mind, because I'm there all the time. I actually bought my initial set of podcasting equipment, voiceover, which is podcasting equipment from Guitar Center. But then, I knew that they didn't have the video mics and the things that and they're actually the ones that they do have. There's a limited quantity. Limited models of what they do have. So it's better to go to something like, an Amazon, a B&H, an Adorama. There are all sorts of different places that you could go for this. Even if you do your research first and then you're able to pick it up at a Best Buy after, that works as well. So, and Guitar Center is great. Love Guitar Center, but keep in mind that they are sound focused, but very sound for music centered. So you're not going to find an awful lot for video at a Guitar Center. But love them. Love Guitar Center.
Yeah, same here. But spent a lot of money over there too.
Absolutely. Me too. Let's see. Oh, Anna says, or Jordache or Guess. Those were big names back in the day. I didn't buy them, but I hear they were big names. Yeah, my mother didn't buy those for me either. She's like, no, you don't. So there we go. Also, let's see. I love my Grado Labs ear mic inline headphones. Now, you know a lot about headphones. Are Grado more suited for music, MC?
Which microphones?
Grado Labs.
Yeah.
Grado.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I never heard of that.
Okay, yeah, I don't know a lot about.
Like a fourth Grado. Yeah.
Yeah, Grado.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a local Brooklyn family business. Yeah, I don't know a lot about it. Yeah, but now I need to investigate.
They make headphones?
Yeah.
Say headphones? Okay.
Yeah, apparently so.
Okay.
Apparently so. You had a lot of good insight about headphones and stuff last week. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. Headphones are just another piece of the puzzle here in trying to, whether you're live streaming, doing video, because as I mentioned last week or week before, is that many of the headphones like Bose or even Bose, Beats, and some of the other ones, Skull Candy. Is that the right name? Skull Candy?
Skull Candy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They will be colored. You might hear the word colored or flavored or something like that. Those two terms you might hear. And what that means is that you've got the audio. The audio is going to be attenuated to some degree, meaning that's going to be, the bass is going to be a little bit higher than a normal, than it normally should, because like with Beats, they're known for their bass. So you've got the bass for those particular headphones. They're going to be attenuated a little higher, a lot higher than other headphones. And so if you're trying to monitor sound, that Bose probably would not be, or not Bose, but Bose either, or Beats probably would not be the best headphones to monitor sound if you're trying to make sure that your sound is coming across clear and, just, you're getting the best audio that you can. Mm-hmm. So you're going to make sure you use a kind of a mono style, or at least a flat style type of headphones, if you will, so you can kind of get with all that other stuff or colored head. You don't want that, because you want to hear the sound as it is. And then if you want the output, then you can kind of color it or change it as you so desired.
Absolutely. You want to hear what your audience is going to hear. Absolutely. Especially when it comes to a live stream, because the live stream is not going to hear the hip hop Beats by Dre. Well, it's not Beats by Dre anymore, but Beats. They're not going to hear that. So you want to make sure you have accurate over the ear headphones for that type of thing. Okay. So the next type is what's called a lobar or unidirectional. Okay, this is great for narrative film, great for controlled sets where you can control the sound. No such thing as a true unidirectional mic. You always get a little bit of pickup from the sides, from the back. Depending on what type, indicates how much. But there's no such thing as a true unidirectional mic. But it is the most directional of the mic pattern, pickup patterns that you can get. So it picks up less of the extraneous sound. The tip really gets a lot of sound from your subject. And so, as I said, great for narrative films and great for controlled sets. By the way, when you're talking about narrative film, you never just get one source of sound. These feature films, when you see them, they have several sources of sound that they layer together in editing for a nice, clear, crisp sound. Not anything that we're really concerned about here right now, because we're not talking about narrative film, but just something for you to know in terms of sound. And what kind of mics work with a lobar pickup pattern?
Okay, we have the Sennheiser again. Once again, you'll hit, and talking microphones and different things of that nature, you'll hit Sennheiser over and over again, because they are pretty much the top of the line. And again, that other one we mentioned, I'm not sure who they are.
Schweppes Bitter Lemon, or whatever the hell it was.
And then the first Sennheiser we have is the Sennheiser MKE 600. And then we have the Sennheiser MKH 8060.
Yes.
And different price points, but nevertheless, you're still going to get a great sound out of either one of them. But again, do some research, and you might be able to find something that's for lesser, but
you probably will. But do your research, and what's helpful. Also read reviews. I mean, sometimes people like to complain for no reason, but I always they do, and I'm like, really?
Right.
But if you go to Amazon, for example, take a look at the reviews. Look at something that has had like 1,000 or more reviews, or a few hundred reviews. And see what they have to say about it. See what they do with it. If they say, oh, well, I'm a filmmaker and I use this for this and it worked great, or this was an issue, for the most part, most people will have reasonable things to say and not just gripe. There'll be something reasonable that they're talking about. People who really know what they're talking about will be making critical discernments between the aspects of the mic. So look at reviews as well.
Well, absolutely. And sometimes as you're reading reviews, make sure you're, as Dr. Tachi mentioned, that you're really kind of discerning what people are saying, because sometimes, a lot of times, I guess in those reviews, you'll get people say, oh, the UPS guy dropped my package off at the wrong apartment. I had to go knock on my neighbor's door to get my package or something silly, and that kind of really muddies the water, if you will, but really having nothing to do with the microphone. So
It got nothing to do with the mic.
Yeah, exactly.
At all.
Exactly. So.
At all. So, just think about that when it comes to these types of things. Also, so that is the last of the cardioid. Remember, you've got cardioid, you've got the hypercardioid and the supercardioid. And then the last one we're going to talk about is the bidirectional. Great for podcasts, great for radio interviews. These are types of mics that you really get when you're for studios, right? Sitting still. Think about a lot of ribbon mics. Remember we talked about that last time?
Absolutely.
Ribbon are bidirectional. And that's how you had, like, back in the old time, they're all singing around one microphone because it's bidirectional, basically. So one person on one side, one on the other side. So it's a mic designed to pick up audio equally from both the front and the back, hence bidirectional. It's also called a figure 8 pattern. Right. So it looks like a figure 8. And it typically is used for something, as I said, like a radio interview, recording, or podcasting. And again, on a film set, these are not necessarily mics for run and gun or for filming, on a set. No, that's what you would use your shotgun and the unidirectional and those types of things. But they can sometimes be used as a backup mic for talk shows when they're on, like, for example, the host desk. So you could use them on a set, like a television set, but like for backup.
Absolutely.
Okay, so MC is going to tell you about the types of mics that are bidirectional.
Okay, and the examples that's given to us is going to be the Blue Yeti. So a lot of us, or a lot of podcasters or content creators, they have the Blue Yeti. So there's the Blue Yeti and the Blue Yeti Pro. Either one of those microphones will give you the bidirectional pickup pattern. And then we have the Studio Projects B3. That's Baker 3, Studio Projects Baker 3 for $159. And then we have the Rode K2 for $699.
How nice.
Wow. I didn't think Rode was really up there like that.
Rode can get up there.
As far as the sound, though, not the pricing, but as far as the sound, was the sound that were they really capable in that space?
The sound is really nice. So whenever you talk to people about the, sound from mics, there are all sorts of things, but you usually hear them say Sennheiser #1 and Rode #2.
Okay.
This does not mean that others are not good, but this is just, and I mentioned this, and let me get to the room really quickly. Brad says, love my Sony MDR 7506 for mixing. Okay. And Anna has also put in some Grado Labs headphones. She put in the site. Thank you for doing that. And Carlos Phoenix is here. Welcome, Carlos. He says, Yeti used to be THX certified. I didn't know that.
They did.
I didn't know that. Okay. Wow. Fantastic. And Carlos says that he likes heel mics as well. And Carlos is not big on Rode. So let me Anna, if it's a snowball, that should be Yeti. Blue makes the snowball. I had a blue snowball. I sold it. Here's my thing with Rode. Okay, so Carlos brought up that he's not big on Rode. I did like this. I have the Rode. I have two Rodes. I have the Rode video mic, and I also have the Rode the wireless. I can't remember the wireless one. Now the wireless sounds beautiful. However, it's cheaply constructed. So construction has something to do, and it's not that cheap. The Rode wireless transmitter and the body pack that I have, that set just for one was $399. So at $399, I don't believe I should be having to replace anything when I'm careful with it. So that's my gripe with Rode. If I'm throwing it all over the place, now granted, I do a lot of shoots, but I'm super careful with my equipment because I'm not trying to replace anything.
Right.
So I was very annoyed when I went to mic somebody, and I'm like, all I'm hearing is buzzing. I'm like, well, what's going on? I'm like, what happened? And I just mic'd the person. And so this is why I'm very careful. And I'm like, let me unmic you and mic you. So it was the wire was frayed on the actual lav part of it.
Yeah, I would have sent that back 3 years later. They would have
For
got it in the mail.
$3.99?
Yeah,
not today.
Yeah, anyone know my family? They will tell you I am the return king. They would have got that back with a with a nice letter.
The letter won't be nice.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So, yeah. So again, so Carlos mentioned that he likes Shure. I like Shure as well. There is so there's a ongoing battle between aficionados of the Blue Yeti and aficionados of the Shure. Sorry, not the Shure, but the ATR, the Audio Technica 2100. Some people always say that's a great starter mic.
That is a great microphone, though.
It's a great microphone. To me, I don't believe in the whole thing of starter mic. If it works, it works. If I start off this way and I like it, that's the way I'm going to continue. Right. So I'm not one of the people that feels that if something is working for me, that I need to go ahead and invest a whole bunch more in something else because it's supposed to be that much better. Unless I really hear a difference. Because guess what? For us as producers, we're going to hear more of a difference than the audience will.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's important to pay attention to that. But is that to me worth maybe $1,000 more? Not really. But that's me. For somebody else, it may be worth it. So you have to understand what is your acceptable margin of error when it comes to production.
Yeah, I think too also is that a lot of times, as we were talking about, or we've been talking about as far as the room and your sound environment, all of those things are going to be very important. And if you have a great microphone, but you don't have your room soundproof to some level, again, not speaking of studio or anything like that, but if you don't have any kind of soundproof in your room where the noise or the sound waves can bounce off of, or at least be padded to some degree, a good microphone is not going to sound that great, especially if you're just plugging it up and it's just out of the box. You might have to use a mixer or something where you can actually change the settings or to some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? But yeah, anyways, you might have to go into the settings, not necessarily the microphone, but just on your mixer and make some different changes to compensate for for your room. So that's another piece of it's nice to be able to plug a microphone in and just go, but there's just a lot more to it than just doing that, because again, you can have a nice microphone, but if your room is not necessarily prepared, you've got to have a mixer or something to control the sound or the audio that's coming in from, that's coming in from different directions. You've got to have other equipment to really kind of help you out with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's recap, since we're running, we went really long today. Let's recap and talk about what we talked about. So we recapped from 2 weeks ago what we talked about in terms of controlling your environment. We also talked about pickup patterns, the omnidirectional, cardioid, hyper-cardioid, super-cardioid, unidirectional, and bi-directional. Those are the different pickup patterns, and those are things you need to understand about your microphones, because that determines what you use in what situation. Right. And then we don't have time to talk about it today, but since I promised that we will give you images of what the pickup patterns look like for all of these different mics next week. Next week, we'll also talk about where you should record in terms of your levels and how to determine those types of things. So we'll have more next week.
Absolutely.
Any final words, sir?
No, great show. Great show. Great.
Absolutely.
A lot of great content. So guys, take it to heart and use it.
Absolutely. Carlos, let me get some final comments. Carlos says, use your omnidirectional if you are not soundproofed and raise the gain on the mixer. Okay, good advice. Anna says, I like listening to people well mic'd with with a sound dampened room who know how to speak well and into the good equipment. You see how many pieces of the equation she put in there? There's a lot there.
Right.
And sorry, Carlos said he meant unidirectional. So use your unidirectional mic. Yes, because unidirectional picks up very little sound from anywhere else. So absolutely, except for the very tip. So I say again, start where you are.
Absolutely.
Start where you are. We just want you to start. This is for once you get going and you're trying to up your game because you want to respect your audience and your audience's time by making sure you put your best technical foot forward. This is for then. But for now, don't be afraid. Don't think you have to have all this immediately. No. Start with where you are. Start with your onboard, even though this is not advisable. But if you just decided today you want to do it and you have something you want to get out today, fine. Start where you are with your onboard mic on your phone, with a stabilizer, hopefully at some point, even if it's just a glass that you're holding it up with. Right. Start where you are and then steadily improve. And you can watch back episodes of And We're Live to find out some of the things we've talked about to improve your video and live streams.
Absolutely. And just real quick, don't forget that when you are testing, you can also test privately on Facebook. You can test privately on YouTube, and you can also create a group on Periscope. So if you are testing out your live stream and making sure that your background, again, a lot of the things that Dr. Tachi and I have shared with you and different suggestions we've given, is that if you're ready to test some of those things out, don't forget that you can set those rooms up without having to make sure that you have an audience.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're absolutely correct. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that next week too. So with that, we are going to sign off and leave you to the rest of your afternoon. We appreciate you all so much for tuning in and listening. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact either one of us. Your email is...
my email is going to be curtisbrooksmediaproductions@gmail.com, or you can just message me here message me on my Facebook page. That's Curtis Brooks Media Pro on Facebook, or leave a comment on Twitter. That's Curtis Media Pro on Twitter.
Yes. And if you want to get at me on Twitter, I am at Tachiada, TACHIADA, which is also my Periscope handle. You could get at me on Instagram, Dr_Tachi, at Dr_Tachi. You can email me at Tachiada, TACHIADA, @gmail.com. And you can also reach me on Facebook on the Mediascope page. That is at Mediascope16. So feel free to leave a message any of these ways and we'll get back to you. And until next week, we're going to say bye for now. Cheers, guys.
Ciao, everybody.